writers use second person, do you not feel a tincture of accusation? What do those third persons want? Who cross-examines poems of witness? Is guilty a likely verdict? Is capital punishment a likely justice after the deliberation of the inner jury? In your essay, said her professor, I forbid the use of first-person pronoun. Jack Gilbert writes, fishermen do not play on the beach, and I do not write funny poems. When the graduate poet described the trouble he was having writing a poem about the dying man at the accident scene who held his hand and made indelicate propositions, the teacher suggested that he try it in a work of fiction. I renounce the mutual exclusivity of poetry and fiction, or poetry and the essay. My dog is mostly first person, and in heaven will get his pronoun. The ironic first person is always ghosted by the third person. When James Wright wrote, I invented the ballpoint pen, I ate the British governor of Rhodesia, he did not mean James Wright. The man in front of the grocery being attacked by the poodle asked, whose beige dog? Unless one seeks directions, that woman in front of the liquor store who appears to be washing her hands with air also bears overhearing. Most certainly, this relates to the tendency of most strictly autobiographical poets to describe meticulous and exact details that objectify or otherwise suggest the inner life of the speaker. In truth, the sorts of material that the confessional poets used were well worn in literature, but had rarely been claimed by the author, you know. I mean, as Peter Davison said, Anne Sexton was the first woman to write about the other fellow while still living with her husband. If Flaubert had entered such personal territory in Madame Bovary, Emma Bovary was not the author. And what's that worth? In a practical sense, the eye is irreplaceable in dramatic monologues. Irreplaceable. Especially those like Dennis Johnson's The Talking Richard Wilson Blues by Richard Clay Wilson or Frank Bidart's Herbert White, which feature unreliable narrators and are thus overheard. All dramatic monologues are overheard. When one begins with lines like Johnson's, you might as well take a razor to your pecker as let a woman in your heart, or Bidart's, when I hit her on the head, it was good. Peter Lorre has to come into the line, he just does. Best to attribute them to others. But to dodge such points of view in order to facilitate an admirable speaker is imaginative treason. Of all the graves that poets might pitch themselves into, the projection of a faux moral or aesthetic righteousness may be the narrowest and deepest. Not that mores or aesthetics are irrelevant, but that to press them hard steals discovery from the reader who must own the book.